Hey folks, as you know, I moved from California to Tennessee, and I temporarily mounted my UHF VHF vertical right here on this file cabinet. This is going to get burnt in the backyard today. It's going to be firewood, but temporarily did a redneck antenna mast. Isn't that cool? And it was really neat because I was able to communicate with some ham radio operators in the Jackson area where the tornado a couple nights ago took out their communications infrastructure. So while nobody can talk on a landline or a cell phone, the ham radio operators were still able to communicate for their loved ones and friends and neighbors. And it was nice talking to those guys on the air when they had nothing but ham radio to communicate. But I used to have a nice high gain cranking tower at our house in California. It was a nice crank up tower. I communicated all around the globe with that thing, but so I wouldn't have to move it all the way to Tennessee. I gave it away to a fellow, and I know he's going to put it to good use. But I can't afford to buy a new tower, and plus the next tower I get is going to be much taller. It'll probably be about 100 feet tall. And that's not including the mast. And I'm going to have it mount when I can afford it. It's going to be way back there on those sides of those woods, or maybe towards the middle, close to that one telephone pole. And that's where my tower is going to be down the road. But in the meantime, I'm going to install an all-band vertical HF. And pardon this pile of trash. This is some of the boxes we've been unloading. But the HF, which I've got in the garage right now, I used years ago. I first started using when I became a ham about 5 years ago. And that, 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago. It's a great vertical all band. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it on this pole in this tilting pole holder, antenna mast holder. It mounts onto the pole permanently, and I'm going to cement it in there. And then you can put the mast here, and then when you want to work on it, you simply tilt it like this, and then you can work on the antenna or do what you need to do. But the reason why I'm actually making this video is I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this without cement. I just learned this week about new technology where you don't need cement and water. It's called Sika PostFix. Inside this one pouch, it's separated by a seam. There's two different chemicals. You break this seal. You can click on this code with your camera or go to the YouTube video and watch the tutorial that Sika PostFix does. And it's important to use this. This is actually equal to 1 50-pound bag of cement. It's actually too much for that hole, probably. You break the seal, and then you mix it up for 15 seconds. And then it starts getting very hot. It starts expanding, and you've got to cut it open. Otherwise, it's going to explode and go all over you. I can imagine some kid's going to do that, and there'll be a lawsuit. And then you cut it right here, according to the directions, and then you start pouring it, equally delivering it into the hole. And it starts setting extremely fast, much quicker than quick-set cement. It'll actually be set in 3 minutes. And then it'll be completely dry, ready for normal use within 2 hours. And so I'll have to level it off very quickly, and which is going to be challenging doing this by myself. So we're going to do this. So I'm going to do this for the very first time. So let me put my camera on my head, and we will go to work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, according to the instructions, here is how it goes. You roll it, break the seal, there it is, the seal just broke, and then you take it on a smooth 90-degree thing, a smooth 90-degree angle object, and do this for 15 seconds. I'll just pretend like I'm massaging my wife's back. Here it goes. How's that about? 7 seconds? Oh, honey, you're hurting too hard. Not so hard. Your hands are too strong, you big brute. Okay. That's why I never give her a back massage. I'm too tough. All right. Honey, how long has it been? How many seconds?
Long enough that I'm going to tell you something.
10 seconds? Oh, wow. It's getting warm. It's getting hot. Okay. All right, now this thing's going to explode if you don't cut it off quick, so cut it. Oh boy, You gotta be
Good
kidding me.
scissors.
Oh, I just ruined the scissors, I think. You've gotta be kidding me. All right, now you start pouring it in, and this stuff sets in 3 minutes. You know what? It just doesn't seem to be that much, but it's supposed to be as much for a 50-pound bag of cement. All right. Now, as I stated, it sets in 3 minutes, and they say wear gloves. And since this is a new chemical, I'm not taking any chances. Whoa! I've got to get it level. It just doesn't. Oh yeah, see it expanding already, ladies and gentlemen. I hope my camera's pointing on there right. Oh yeah, that's a lot. Let me get rid of this. As you can see, I'm a beginner. Ladies and gentlemen, the first time using, what's it called, Sika something? Sika something. You know, it's not setting as quick as it's a heavy pull though, and I do have weight on some weight on it, but okay, yeah, there it goes. It's finally setting. A little bit that way. Oh yeah, there we go. Now it's getting pretty stubborn, which is good. Need to put just a little bit of weight this direction. This is really a two-man job. I even said that when my wife's here. I can be politically correct and say two-person. Honey, should I be politically correct and say two-person? Look at that. It's coming out, man. It's exploding. Yeah, it's perfect that way. Ooh, a little off that way. Just a touch. Okay. Okay, there we go. Hopefully it'll I'm gonna hold my finger that direction because it seems to need to be pushed that way a little bit, so I'm gonna hold just about a pound of pressure that direction, and I believe it's gonna be set just perfect. Okay, it's right on there. Now I'm not holding it all. Boy, my hands feel sticky. It's right on there. You know what? I think this stuff's going through my gloves. No? Why does it feel so sticky underneath? This stuff breaks off pretty easy. Yeah, pretty good right there. Yeah, right on the money. Oh, it's like a 32nd of an inch off, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I didn't get paid for this. Now another large a galvanized mast will mount on here, right there, and it will be very, very high. Actually that's going to be somewhere else, but my HF mast and HF all band vertical is going to be right there. And then I'll be back on the air with high frequency, and I'm anxious to find out. I knew how far I can communicate with an all band vertical, HF vertical in California, of course Japan, and all throughout the ocean, different parts of the ocean. But now that I'm towards the East Coast in Tennessee, I'm hoping that I get a better circumference, better propagation in 360 degrees. So here we are, folks. You know, also while this is setting, I just want to say something. In California, I never could understand, unless it's a weather net or a practice run or an actual emergency operation, I never could understand why a lot of ham radio operators always talked about the weather. There was one net that I never keyed on, I never transmitted on, in the Inland Empire of California, and man, everybody had to give a weather report on this 45-minute net. There'd be 7 guys in my city, Redlands, and all of them gave the same report. I just didn't understand it. It's almost like they just couldn't think of something to talk about. It's like going to the barber, you know, hey, how's the weather outside? Well, let's talk about something else. Everybody talks about the weather. And what I want to say, folks, is now that I'm in Tennessee, and I experienced our first tornado that was about 6 miles from our home, but I didn't see it, but I was hearing all the action on ham radio. It touched down in the Franklin area, in the city of Franklin. That's where it did damage, and that's about 40 miles north of us. My wife and I had dinner there with a good friend, Paul, recently. And it tore down their communications infrastructure. Nobody can talk on the phone, nobody can talk on cell phones, and guess what? Our good old-fashioned hashtag ham radio operators were able to communicate to the boots on the ground, to their loved ones, to their neighbors, to their friends, and I was able to talk to them and listen to the reports of the tornado damage. Ladies and gentlemen, the moral of this story is that's where it's important to talk about the weather, when there really is a problem, and under critical and exigent circumstances. Anyways, I just wanted to share that. I just loved it. I love it when there's not too much unnecessary chatter on nets and QSOs. Kind of like right now I'm doing unnecessary chatter. All right, folks, here it is. It's going to be my HF vertical, reaching out on a 365-degree RF frequency radius from West Tennessee. Kilo 2, Papa Tango Lima. Also stands for K2, praise the Lord. Soli Deo Gloria. I think I forgot to point it downward and show you how far it came out. That is just so cool, folks. What a way to sink a post or an antenna mast or whatever you need it for. Okay, goodbye everybody.